There are three key stages in setting up your GA4 to BigQuery export. Let's dive in to step one, so setting up a Google Cloud account. The first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to go to this URL, so cloud.google.com/docs/get started. When you go to the URL, this is the page that you're going to be presented with. And what you're going to want to do is click create account and then follow the steps from there. What you're going to want to be creating is a self-serve cloud billing account. This allows you to automatically pay for your Google Cloud usage costs. Right, so on to a few of the obvious questions. So how much is this going to cost you? You may have heard some horrific things about the costs of cloud storage. Well, luckily for you, BigQuery isn't going to be the end of the world for you. So for a site like Piped Out, which has several thousand visitors a month, the costs of running BigQuery like this are $0.03 a month. And luckily for you, the first $625 worth of costs is completely free. Onto the obvious follow-up question from this. So if my site is noticeably larger than this, should I be worried about BigQuery costs? So we'd say if you're a couple of 100,000 sessions a month within that ballpark, then it's worth looking at the BigQuery cost page and just looking at how much it's going to sort of come to. And it's worth noting as well, at Piped Out, a lot of what we do is help big sites reduce the amount in their data storage costs. So if that's something you're interested in, then do get in touch. What if you don't want to add your billing details? Then your data will be stored in BigQuery, but it will be stored in the BigQuery sandbox. And that's a limited environment, and the data is only stored for 60 days. So it's fairly limited in that sense. And obviously beyond that point, your data is gone. Right, so on to step two, which is setting up your GA4 to BigQuery connection. And for this, we're going to go to the Google Analytics interface. Right, so here I've gone to the Piped Out GA4 interface. And the first thing that you need to do is go to admin. And then from there, you're going to go to BigQuery links. And what you can see is we already have a data connection here set up for our GA4 BigQuery data. But what we'll do is we'll run through an example where we're actually setting this up from scratch. Right, so the first thing that you want to do is click link. And then this will open up all the configuration that you need to do. So the first thing you need to do is choose a BigQuery project. So this is where your GA4 data will be stored. So come to here and then you'll want to choose a specific project. So in this case, I'll go for reference tables and we'll hit confirm. Then the next thing you'll need to do is select the data location. So if you already have an existing BigQuery account with existing data sets, then you'll want to put it in the same region as them. But if you don't, then just put it in the location that the business is in. So in this case, I'll put European EU and then hit next. And then at this stage, with data streams and events, we can choose if there's any events that we don't want to export. So the way that we do that is we go configure data streams and events. We could come in here and then we can either specify event by name or we can add them. So we could click, for example, scroll events we don't want to export, etc. So we can do that all here. Our recommendation though would just be to exclude nothing at this stage and just collect everything. So on to step three now, which is deciding whether to export streaming tables or daily tables or both. So at this point, you're choosing your export type. So you have two choices, daily and streaming, and they both have their relative benefits and it's worth just weighing them both up. Let's talk about streaming tables first. So they're considered a best effort operation, and the advantage of them is that they operate in real time and there's no limits there at all. So it's a great way if you want to get access to real-time data. The other option is the daily tables. So that's the full export of all of your data. It takes a little bit longer to come through, but it's the most complete form of your data, and you get access to more fields in the GA4 sort of export later on. The one downside of the daily tables is that you can only export up to 1 million events per day. So if you're going over that 1 million, that may pose some issues for you. So which of these do we suggest, streaming or daily? So what we'd say generally is if you're under 1 million events per day, then select daily, as this is the most complete form of your data. And if you're over that 1 million threshold, then we'd look at what events you could exclude in order to get underneath that 1 million events per day. So this could be sort of specific user interactions that aren't particularly useful, or you're not using them at all, for example, but are triggered all the time. So from here, once you've made your selection, you can just hit next, and then you can review and then just hit submit, and then you're good to go, and then your data will start flowing into BigQuery.